Welcome.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome, as Brother James says, to the Namaste experience. This is a Wednesday morning session, and Brother James is traveling, and I am honored to stand in or sit in, actually, because we can't stand in here unless we made this much taller. It's great to connect with all of you. I wanted to just open this with just a moment of silence. And so let's begin with that, with a breath or two, breathing in and breathing out, and remembering that that is not something we have to work at. Well, depends. Some people do have challenged breath. However, we're most generally born with the divine breathing us. Namaste.
Namaste.
Well, in deciding what to offer this morning as a little bit of commentary that people could comment on, or at least chew on, I looked over at my singing bowl, which was an ordination gift, and I love the tone of it, and I meditate with it, beginning meditation with it every day, sometimes twice a day. Not this morning though, and when I travel, they're about this size, and I didn't want to be packing it in my suitcase. And so imagine my delight when I saw these little boxes on a gift shop's shelf and looked inside, and there's this wee tiny little singing bowl. Isn't that precious? It doesn't reverberate very long. Mine just seems to go until I'm there, but this doesn't. But it does have, and over the internet, this is not going to sound like it does locally, because those sounds or tones don't carry. Yeah, it reverberates a bit there. Yeah. Now, I've heard this on the other end, like the folks that are on this morning, and it just cuts off. It usually doesn't last very long. So I brought that to your attention because I had this lovely little piece on harmony that Susan Geisman, is it Geisman or Geisman? Geisman, I think. Do you know her name? Well, she's pretty well known throughout, and I'm on her little email list, so which I don't imagine is little. And she sent this, and I thought this kind of ties into something James said about 6 weeks ago about music and mathematics. The music of angels. That is what you call tunes that speak to the heart, that give you a soaring feeling. Why is this? For yours is a universe of harmony beneath what can, at times, seem like chaos. Certain combinations of tones hold you in remembrance of the fact that beneath any apparent disorder, all is in order. Music and mathematics have much in common. Geometry and nature, all of these point to an intelligence that belies the disorder and underlies all outer manifestation. You are supported. We are whole at a deeper level. We are so very loved. May these words bring you back into harmony with your true nature. As above, so below. So I ask you, what role does music play in your life? How does it bring you, what happens? And I thought this so connected with me because I had a circumstance this last week where I was sitting in my room, just began a meditation. And in community, when somebody walks by the open windows, which many times they're open, most of the time, and the voices filter in, and this particular person has one of those voices that really carries. And I thought to myself, and the conversation went on, and I was working with centering and staying there. And I thought, I wonder what I could do. And I realized that I have this wonderful little Bluetooth speaker and I have lovely music on my phone, the meditation music. So I quickly hooked those up. Oh, I was at peace. And I could still hear the voices, but they weren't dominated. It was the quiet of the music that took me back to peaceful center. So harmonizing the cells in my body, harmonizing my thoughts. And so I wonder what your experiences are about how music helps and supports you in this plane while we're in these human bodies having this experience and keeping us soul connected otherwise. And Vicky, you're there. Hi, darling. And you and Teddy talk about music all the time. And so I thought, I know they'll have something to say here. We can't hear her.
There we are. Okay. Good morning.
Great.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, music, it's such a perfect universal vehicle, just like a smile. And that music, when it's played from the heart, we talked a few times about Victor Wooten, friend of Jimmy's and mine, who is a bass player, and he teaches children and adults of all ages simply to play their soul song, whatever instrument they use. And that when we play our soul song, it's almost impossible not to hear it. It's irresistible because we're playing the song of love in whatever key it comes out in us. And that's really what we're called to do. We're called to sing out whatever song is in us, whether it's by singing or by cooking or by speaking or dancing or playing with children or watching a sunrise. We're called to let our souls express and experience them. And sometimes the music on the outside, that we hear, does resonate and it opens us up. And for each of us, it can be different. Teddy loves the Grateful Dead, and I listen to Gregorian chant. But we listen to the same sound. We listen to the sound of love. We listen to the sound of that harmony of grace that's underneath everything. And it doesn't matter the particulars. It matters that it opens our heart and our soul. Now, a lot of music, and Victor actually wrote a beautiful book about this, a lot of the music of today is disharmony, and it doesn't open our hearts. It promotes fear, and we don't realize it. It's a subtle way of the ego trying to extend itself. But when we listen, we know the difference. And if we're attracted to music that promotes fear, that's a good signal that there's another option and another way. But for all of us, the true music, the true sounds are within our own hearts and souls. And when we play that music, we hear it in others because there's a natural resonance with each other because we share that same tone of creation, of love, of joining, and of harmony. But I will tell you this in terms of living in the world, often I like no music at all. I like the sound of silence because I cannot hear celestial music, although one time I did, and I'll tell you that quickly. But I don't necessarily hear anything, but what I feel is a natural harmony. I can feel, so it's like just a sentient experience of hearing a cosmic sound, and the external music interferes with it. That's why I don't like music, a lot of it. But there, of course, there's some music that I love, some of the classical stuff, and I do love Gregorian chant and chants. Jimmy sings some that I love, but mostly the quiet brings to my awareness a deeper orchestration of sound that I feel I'm part of. So that's part of being quiet, and it's a nice way to abide, just to sit and abide. But one time, my sisters and I and a couple of girlfriends, we were in Vietnam, and we were in a Mary chapel in Vietnam dedicated to Our Lady of Fatima. And there were 7 of us. And we all went up, and it was a very makeshift chapel. It wasn't like we have churches in the States or even in Mexico. It had no walls, and it had just some benches and no sound system, no anything. And we went up and we lit a candle, and then we all walked off on our way. Oh, when we lit the candle, we sang a little hymn called Immaculate Mary. Some of you might know it. Immaculate Mary, our hearts are on fire. It's an old Catholic processional. Anyway, we all just sang this little tune, and we all walked away. And as soon as we walked away, within, I would say, 15 seconds, because I had reached the back of the area, each of us heard a sound coming from all different parts of the chapel. It was only a makeshift, roof. And we all heard it differently, but it was Immaculate Mary, the same song we sang, played back to us. Some heard singing, some heard bells, some heard just music. It was, and we all turned around at the same time, and we all walked back to the center, and we all just stood there in appreciation, as if it was the most natural thing in the world. It wasn't like, oh, what a miracle. It was a miracle, but it was also natural that we sang and the gift was sung back to us. It was really quite an experience. After it, we were really elated, but during it, it just held us as this wonderful comfort of really hearing that we're not alone, and that it was like Mary saying, thanks, thank you, I love you, here it is back again. So that's the only time I've heard the celestial sound. Anyway, all of us are here to play and sing out the sound of our soul, because it's the sound of love no matter how it comes out. So do it however and wherever, and be listening and be giving of your music and listening to it wherever it is in harmony with you. Join with it and enjoy it.
Vicki, on Christmas Eve, I was invited to attend the Episcopal Church, and I was from cradle till about midlife, I was Episcopalian. So as I attended this service, I knew the order of service, I knew the music, and the church, of course, was full. And the processional, you were talking about processing in the Catholic Church, where the processional was done to "O Come All Ye Faithful." Now, I hadn't heard that song in this setting for a number of years. And the little girl in me, the soul in me, was so attached to that beautiful song and all of this that was going on, this beautiful processional. And I had tears came to my eyes, and I thought, wow, my soul remembers this. My consciousness remembers this. I'm very connected here. I'll always be Episcopalian, no matter where I go from there. I mean, that doesn't stop happening. What I learned the first 50 years of my life, it all builds, right? So when you were talking about that, I'm just remembering how what a harmonious and exuberating feeling it brought to me. And I found myself singing louder than I usually do. And that's probably not as comfortable for other people as it is for me. So, yes, and music is so powerful. And the opposite, as you said, is silence. The silence that is amazingly powerful. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you.
Does Teddy have something he wants to say this
Well,
morning about harmonies and music and whatever,
it's
Teddy?
all, at some point in time, it's all just vibratory frequency of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And, the more, okay, when I was in my awakening, and the vibratory frequency of energy was so raised up that it was like being in an altered state. And I was in that for days. Finally, I had to go to work, and I got to work, and it sort of the energy sort of lowered. And I asked my guides, what do I do? What do I do in this downtime? And they just said, just listen to the music because the harmony is what we're joining with. I mean, if you looked at at reality or heaven as total harmony, then all we're doing is raising our vibratory frequency of energy so that we blend with the total harmony and we find our space, we find our place in that harmony, and we just be that or sing that or whatever we want to call it. But that's really what's going on here. It's just vibratory frequency of energy. We're all being raised up to the vibratory frequency of energy of reality. And then we're just blending in and learning how to stay blended in so that we no longer have to participate in space time, but be part of reality, which is eternal and infinite. Um, and we have a place in the eternal and infinite, and we have a vibratory frequency of an energetic vibratory frequency that we harmonize and blend with so as to take our place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see. I'm wearing my bifocals today, so I have to go like this. Baraka, I see her hand is up. Open your mic and share. Good morning.
Uh, when I was a small child, I used to go to in the corner of the living room. We had an old stereo record player with a couple of speakers, and I would love to put on the big LPs that had classical music on them, and then I would stand in front of the two speakers, and I would conduct it like a
Mm.
conductor. I remember seeing Leonard Bernstein on the television, and so I would be Leonard Bernstein. And then my parents figured that it would be cool to take me to a concert of the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, and I had we had fairly good seats, sitting down sort of front. And as it started up, it just seemed perfectly natural that I should stand up and I should start conducting. And it was a little distracting to the people around. A lot of people thought it was uh, it was cute. I I didn't understand why everyone thought it was so unusual, just because I was conducting the orchestra. That guy standing up front of the orchestra there, I didn't know what he was doing, but it was, I was the conductor. So whenever we went to the symphony after that, we always bought seats. My parents always bought seats at the very last row. because there was no way I was not going to conduct the orchestra.
Oh, I love that
Many years
story.
later, I I moved past that in my life. I understood that one is not supposed to do that in a symphony space with a lot of other people because that's not what my job is. My job is to listen. So I wanted to start conducting my own music again. So I created an actual. I started creating recording studio so I could make my own music and conduct it. And I remember being in that space, which is a set of headphones, and creating sounds that had never been heard by me before because they were all synthesizers, and creating my own music and the transformation. I would go into this headspace of the creation of the music for hours and hours and hours. I would have no sense whatsoever of the sense of time passage as I made this music and molded it and everything. I was able to release a couple of albums. This was back in the 90s. In fact, this is the cover of one of the albums,
Mm.
and behind me here. And the whenever I go back to listen to that music, I don't hear it as something that I created myself because I don't have a memory of how it happened. I just know that when I listen to it, it does transport me into another space,
Mhm.
into another time, timelessness, and I understand and I hear a voice, a spirit that is beyond anything that I hear in the normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill world around us. So it is definitely the space of my own spiritual sound. And I can never understand why when other people listen to my music that they don't hear the same thing.
You dropped those last words. I couldn't hear them. You don't
I
understand why?
I said that whenever I played this music for someone else, I don't understand why they can't hear same the
Oh,
same feeling that I'm feeling when I
mhm.
listen to it.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you. Now, excuse me, and I've got to look at this really small print here. Akai? Akai, is that how I said?
Akal
Would you,
Dev.
your hands up? Thank you.
Akal Dev.
Akal Dev. Okay.
Okay. So as
Thank you.
everybody who knows me knows, music has been central to my life, my entire life, and that's what I do. From the time I was 3 years old, listening to the New World Symphony on 78, there were 10 sides. So I had to keep jumping up and started playing an instrument when I was 7. But you mentioned the connection between music and math. And Pythagoras, of course, was a great mathematician, but he was also a great musician. And the story is told in ancient Greece about 2 men who were dueling. And this wasn't just a contest, they were dueling to the death. And they weren't going to stop until one of them won the dueling contest. And Pythagoras appeared on the scene, and he played a lyre, a small handheld harp. He plucked one string on the harp. He played one note. The 2 men dropped their swords and walked away.
Mm. Yeah. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Anytime there's conflict, there's just one note. I have the honor and privilege of working, as a chaplain in hospitals, and we have a harpist, and she's a dear friend, and we have worked together many times to go into a situation at the hospital that might be tense potential conflict or just very extremely sad. And I'll say, come with me, would you? And she knows just exactly what to play. She just reads the room, basically, and the energy. And she plucks a few strings on the harp, and the energy just shifts. It's a beautiful experience. We've done that with birthing mothers. We've done it with many scenarios. And it's been a privilege to work with her. Now, I'm not real familiar with Apple products, and that's a computer, MacBook that I'm working with. I can't see all of you. I'm wondering if Calico is here. She would, Calico, are you here? And would you like to comment?
I'm here. Hi,
Okay,
Kathy.
now I see you. Thank you.
You know, music at one point in my process, it was very helpful for me because I could block out the inner voices and just focus on the music. Now it seems like for me, silence is golden. And, and I must say, one of the things I absolutely love is I have a dryer outside my window, and the harmonies from this dryer will either point to the fact that I need to clear something, or I just don't listen to it anymore. And I must say, my current awakening is with a dryer. Absolutely perfect. So thank you for this morning. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. You know, I had an experience recently with one who was dying. I was sitting with her, and while she was still able to talk, she's telling me that the air conditioner in the hospital room sounded like her mother upstairs typing. And I said, well, if this is, how's that working for you? You know? And she said, oh, it's so soothing. I love it. And so there are these sounds, Calico, that enter our life, and then they become integrated in our life. And the roosters here have become so integrated. I know I had a guest here with me for about a week. She said, I didn't know roosters crowed all day long. Well, they do. And they do here. And I've also had that experience in Oak Harbor, Washington. So they do. And I think they're having conversations, social contact, who knows? So let's see. Again, I cannot see everyone because I'm not operating this.
Alice.
Who is it?
Alice.
Alice, does she have her hand up?
Yeah.
Oh, Alice, please. Thank you. Thank you, Ravi. Takes a village. Takes a village for a Unity minister to be at an ACIM session. Yes, please, Alice.
I love music too. And it's a universal language. It really
Yes.
is. It speaks beyond all the different languages, which is absolutely amazing. I just wanted to share a little experience. When I was learning the Native American flute, and I knew as I was learning it that what to do, but something was missing. Something was missing in the mechanics of what I was playing. And then I asked the flute, I said, what do I need? What do I need to do to wake you up? And it was very clear to me. It said, use me to pray with. Use me to pray with. So when you play, pray. But don't use words, just use me. I'd just like to, 30 seconds, I'd love to give you a little Native American flute prayer.
Please do.
I hope it comes across okay. Wait a minute.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I think that's a beautiful place to say about that's our closing prayer. Thank you very, very much. So I think we need to, would like to put up our other prayer.
Oh, it's down here, isn't it?
Green.
It's green, the green button.
Thank you.
That's the sharing. There it is. There, and then over here, Pope share. Oh, you're so, you got it. Thank you. Okay, so you can rise here if you like, and we'll just begin by saying the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Amen, amen, amen. Have a great day. And I believe Calico's here with you tomorrow. Yay.
Happy Wednesday.
Thank you. I love you all. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye. Love you.
Namaste.
I do.
You can't.
Your call is for an hour.
Namaste.
We'll go over here to end.